Alright, so I just came out and rotated them, and so you can see I got my hot wire taken down over there. It's in my hand. I got the other one strung up, and I put a hay bale out for him. I guess I kind of screwed up though, because this little guy's brand new. Afterbirth is still laying on the ground over there. Well, his mom ran off to eat hay, so I'm not sure which one it is. It's either 32 or number 13, and I think both of them may have calved today. So we're going to keep an eye on him. You can see he's kind of shivering. It's raining, it's cold out today. And that other one as well, laying down over by my four-wheeler. So we're going to go check on number 27's calf, and we'll try to figure out which one these two belong to. Alright guys, sorry in advance about the wind. Just wanted to point something out. It's kind of cool. I don't know, can you see this line right here in the grass? So that's 3 days difference of this grass growing and this grass getting eaten. You can already see how that rotational grazing is going to work, where they eat right up to the fence and then just kind of a little bit on the other side that they can get their head poked under. And so kind of cool, neat to see that kind of working. So this little guy's hanging out over here. I'm not sure what he's doing. He's trying to hide underneath the plow there, chisel plow. The other one is down that way, and he jumped right up when I walked up to him, so that's good. Got energy. And then this one I could see when I first walked up, he had some milk on his face, so he's been nursing. So that's a good sign as well. Even though he's kind of shivering, it's cold and it's wet out here. So I'm not super worried about that yet. We're going to keep an eye on him for a little bit. So I'm going to hang out here and see if I can figure out, like I said, which ones these belong to. So we'll just be hanging out here in the rain for a little while. And I got to go tear all my fence posts up. So yeah, let's go do that, and then we'll just watch cows, I guess. Shh, back up. Alright, so I just got a call from my uncle. He mentioned looking at 27 here and noted that she's looking pretty thin and she didn't make a very big milk bag. Now, of course, she had just calved. I'll look at her here. You can see she's not looking great. So his advice was to try to just get some more food in her. So I brought out just a little pile of feed here, and of course had to chase all the other ones off. But so every day for the next few days we're going to come out and give her an extra 5-7 pounds of feed, and just try to get her condition back. So he just pointed out that if you can treat it, 56, if you can get them to kind of flush back out early, it's just easier to fix it before it really becomes a problem. So that's what we're going to do. We'll get her some extra feed. She's eating kind of slow, which is not what I want to see. Back off. So 56 is really wanting that feed. Get out of here. So anyway, so I'll sit out here and watch her. Still don't know who those new calves belong to. One of them, last I saw, was laying down over here somewhere. The other one's still hanging out over there by the chisel plow. So we'll keep watching them. They both look like they're doing okay, so I'm not too worried about them. But I want to get ear tags in them and figure out who they belong to. Now, I think I've miscounted somewhere, because I should have had 4 more to go before 27 here. So she makes one. I've got the 2 new ones today, and so that should put me at 42 calves, but I'm only counting 41. I'm missing one that didn't calve yet. I'm not sure which one it is. I don't have it in my notes. So we'll have to figure that out. But anyway, for now, just more cow watching. Alright, so today's the next day. See how this one's kind of breathing heavy? And then look in its nose here. Got kind of some snot or whatever. And then in its eye as well, it's got a little bit of discharge. It's running a fever of 103.4. See that? So we're going to give it antibiotics. I suspect this is what's called a BRD, bovine respiratory disease. This one also, you can kind of see, has some discharge in its eye. So we're going to take its temperature next. its breathing looks better, but it's still kind of fast. So these are my 2 new calves from yesterday. How little this little guy is. He's like 40 pounds probably. That one's a little bit bigger, probably more like 50 pounds. So let me draw out these antibiotics real quick. So this one had a fever of 102.6, and that kind of looks like the start of pink eye. So went ahead and gave it antibiotics as well. So I've had trouble with pink eye out here recently. Come on, all the way up. Which is why I suspect that's probably what that is. And then with a slight fever, that makes sense. So that warrants antibiotics in my book. This one's coming over here to drink some water. Hopefully this afternoon I'll be able to figure out who these 2 belong to. Now, on newborn calves, I've got 2 to 3 days, maybe 4, depending on the calf, where I can still catch it. And after that, once it gets to 4 or 5 days old, I've got to get them in a pen. They're just too fast. I can't catch them. So I need to learn how to use a lariat, a rope, like a lasso. Never really done that before. Seems like when I was a kid, I played with like a kid's version a little bit, but never got good at it. Never took it seriously. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that though, so that I can catch calves. Because once they get big, you guys saw that the other day. Well, kind of. You saw the result of it. What you didn't see was about an hour and a half of me following it around until I could get it in a corner. But one that was a month or 2 old that had the pink eye. Let's go find him and check on him. Man, hard to catch, and they get real quick at about a week old. You just, and even before that, like, man, if they take off running, you just can't catch them. So if I'm gonna get ear tags in them out here in the pasture, I got to do it either today or tomorrow, and other than that, they're just going to have to wait. The other thing, and I'd mentioned this before I move them across the creek, I'm going to get them all in the head gate. I'm going to fix the rest of the ear tags, and I'm going to get ear tags in all of my calves. And then just as I see them nurse, I'll record, which ones belong to who. They're going to be mismatched. I've got some pictures of some and some ideas. Like this one right here, I'm pretty sure is 17s, and this one's 25s. So 25 calved first. If I have that right, I'll have to look back. But I think 25 calved first by a few days, and so that'll be this bigger one here. And this one will be 17. And then there's some other ones that are kind of identifiable. Some of them though, like this one. That one's 22s, and it looks a lot like this one. Right now I could pick them apart, but here in a few days, and then once they've been in the chute and they're not actually paying attention to their moms, really hard to tell apart. So anyway, I'm gonna walk around out here with them for a little bit, try to find that calf I treated for pink eye the other day. I'll show him to you if I find him, when I find him. Oh, he's right there. Hang on. See how close it'll let me get to it. Not very close at all. It's looking better. So the discharge has stopped. He's still got some white in the middle of his eye. That's going to be pretty much impossible for you guys to see. So I'm going to try and get a better look at him, and then, like I said, we'll try to get those 2 new ones over there to go find their mom and show me who they belong to. I call this the Lady Gaga stick. When the other cows get too close, you poke her face. Come on. Hey. There. So we're giving 27 her own little feed again because she looks terrible. Of course, all the other ones here are jealous. Back up. Hey. I'll have to do this for a little while, then they'll kind of figure it out. 27 will just sit here and munch away. Hey. We're going to keep doing this to try and get her condition back so she's ready to breed here in a month or so when I get a bull. Back it. Back it. Right. Once they all realize that they don't get any of this, they all kind of back off. Just for record, I'm not hitting them with it, really. Just gives me something to poke at them with. Makes my arm longer, basically. 27 here, she's pretty cool. She doesn't mind me walking up all around her while she's eating, so that's good. Some of them are persistent. So, she's looking better than she was a few days ago. Just being out here with a little bit better grass. Hey, you don't get any either, little guy. Look how good that calf looks. Back off. 29. See, look at 29 here. Nice and fat, filled out. That's what they should look like. Hey, hey. 24 right there. She's looking pretty good too. Number 3 looks pretty good. This one though, not looking so good. I don't know if you can see, but just kind of this area here is kind of just sunken in. It's just looking real thin. Back here on her rump, it's just not quite what you want to see. Show you one that looks real good. So see, this one's better, and she could use to fill in a little bit more. Hey. And they will once I get them on that better grass across the creek. Back off. And some of them just look better than others, but back up. This side especially, you can see how far she's sunken in here. And back here, just no fat left on her. Back up. So that's what we're trying to fix here. So one thing I decided to try this time is I put the fence a little bit lower to see if that would keep the calves from getting through it. And yeah, didn't work. So now I'm worried that if they got through while they were learning what it was, they might be hesitant to come back through and get back to their moms. So I don't know. We'll watch. We'll come back out first thing in the morning and see if they look like they're wanting in and just can't figure out how to get in. And if that's the case, we'll kill the fence for a minute and I'll raise this back up higher so that they can get back underneath of it. So I'd mentioned this before. It's not a big deal for the calves to get through there. They don't eat that much grass anyway because they're little. And the main idea is just to keep the big cows in so that they, one of the ideas is if you keep them kind of contained in a smaller area, they'll be less selective about their grazing. And so, like, they'll eat some of this type of stuff. They won't eat all of this. Some weeds they just won't touch. They won't eat it at all. But while I'm trying to get the pasture across the creek all knocked down, I haven't really showed you guys that, but it's tall. And I've got a bunch of like vines and stuff in there that I'm wanting to get rid of. And so I'm hoping that by keeping them in little tighter knit areas, hopefully they'll eat on those leaves and kind of stunt those vines, roses and stuff. So that's the goal anyway. So we'll see if these calves can find their way back in. Some of these over here, that one's probably the tallest one. It's over there. He's the biggest one. So he might have kind of gone underneath it, and if it shocked him on his way through, he might not want to come back through. And so I'll sit out this evening and listen, actually. And a lot of times you can tell. I can tell by the way the mama cows are calling for their calves. If they're separated and they can't figure out how to get to each other, they get real loud. And so if I hear that, then I'll come out tonight and I'll raise this fence back up. So anyway, part of the experiment. We'll see how it works. So one more note on the rotational grazing. You can see that one's standing over there in the water just because it's kind of warm out, so just dipping her toes in the water. But they are all in this new piece of pasture that I opened them up to yesterday. See that? None of them are trying to back graze over there. Now granted, in this particular case, there's really nothing for them over there, but this is my plan, is not to actually back fence the pasture. So whenever I move them, I'll set up my new fence, take this one down like I did, and here you can see that line where the fence used to be, and then we'll let them eat on the new pasture. And the theory is that they won't back graze. They won't graze the stuff that they've already been on. They'll focus on the nice new grass that I just opened up for them. And so far in this little experiment, which it's not accurate because the forage isn't very good, you know, the grass isn't really growing yet, it's not very tall, but they're not back grazing. They're staying right up here. Every single one of them is grazing. Even these girls, they're still on this side of where I'd had that hot wire. So that seems to work. Some guys back fence them, but then you have to cut channels, like an alleyway somewhere, you know, back here over to where their water source is. And so I don't like that. That's kind of a pain. And they'll tear that area up, especially if it gets wet. If they can only get through that one area to get back to water, every single one of them is going to walk through there multiple times a day, and they'll just till it up and kill the grass. So like this, they have kind of infinite ways to get over there. Now you can see, I can see right here, they prefer to walk right there next to that corner post, but you can see what I'm talking about. They tear it up. So anyway, so far though, not back fencing is working, and they're not back grazing, so that's cool. Just cool to see.